Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tim Vixay with my crippled friend. This is episode 21, and we are recording here in Nampa, Idaho. I'm on the road to, I'm going to Denver for the week, but decided to stop here in Boise and just catch up with a couple friends, and got this pretty good opportunity to come hang out with one of my buddies from Rugby. His name's Josiah Sullivan. He is a .5 with the Boise Bombers. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Not much. Good.
Been having a good summer?
Oh yeah, enjoying life and traveling a bunch.
Yeah. What all have you been up to this summer?
Oh, this summer I do summer camps, so I spent 2 weeks up in the mountains.
Yeah.
Helping out at summer camps. Did a rugby tournament. Fall.
That was Reno, right?
Yeah. Low point tournament. So those are my favorite.
Those are always the best.
Yeah.
Were you you didn't go to Phoenix, right?
I did.
Did you?
Also went to Phoenix. Played with Seattle.
I don't remember much of that.
Yeah.
Seattle has a way of getting the party animal in me out.
Oh.
It was a wild.
Don't remember some of those nights, huh?
It was a wild night, but yeah, we've talked about that plenty of times. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse here. How was the low point tournament in Reno? Because that was kind of I wouldn't say original, because my first low point tournament was in Vegas, but Reno's been the one that's kind of like consistently had one every year.
Yeah, they're the ones that have it every year now, and it's always a blast. It's always fun to spend time in Reno in the hotel and go down to the restaurants and casino areas.
It's always at the circus.
Yeah, circus. So go down and have some fun anywhere you want. And the tournament was pretty good. There were a couple stacked teams, and but we took the Bombers. We just had 4 of us. We Ironmanned it all weekend.
Yeah,
that's my favorite.
And that's one of those tournaments. I mean, even for Portland, that's like a 9-hour drive, and it's always fun to kind of road trip and make a week out of it. But
yeah, 6-hour drive for us, so not too bad.
The when I saw the rosters for Reno, I was thinking, I already knew who was going to win, because there was there was one team in particular that had a former national 2.0.
Yeah.
And, he's got the 45 age reduction now, so he qualifies to play. Do you think we should allow those players, like the ones that used to be 2s? Because no one ever considers a 2 a low pointer.
Yeah, it's tough. Reno, they have a stipulation on their rosters that you can only have one of those on your roster.
Okay.
So that's kind of the stipulation, but I don't know. It'd be nice to have it
just one of the 2s that's reduced.
Yeah, so only 1.5 that's reduced.
Because they still had some players that were over 45.
Yeah, they still had three other 4, I think, were over 45.
Which, it's like, you look like 0.5, is it really that big of a difference? But then when you got 2-3 guys, it's like, oh wait, now it's 1.5 points over. Exactly. And then at a low point tournament, it's kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, right now it's still kind of like it's like infancy, and I think if we ever start a league, that's gonna have to be like a conversation that we're gonna have to sit down and have. Like, are we gonna allow those players? Do we want to keep it like a true low point?
Yeah.
It'd
be fun to have like a low point league going on.
Oh, there's been a lot of talks about it.
Yeah. There definitely would have to be some talks on what players would be allowed in, because
Well, the cool thing, it would be a player run league, just like the USQRA, and it would just be all low pointers. And a couple of like things that I was kind of kicking around in my brain was like, we obviously there's no reason to change the USQRA class system, but I think it might be beneficial to add just an outright 0 class.
Yeah, definitely.
And I feel like we should adopt that internationally and with the USQRA, because right now, the classification system, it was designed for SCIs, and as you know, it's the game's gotten away from that, and there's no there's no SCI international players really anymore on the definitely on the U.S. side. That's 3.0 and up,
right?
I'd say. And then even internationally, I can only name like one guy, the dude from Sweden. Everyone else is, and I think he's like super incomplete. I heard he like wakeboards in the off season.
Oh wow!
But like, yeah, if you look at the top 4 teams in the nation, I mean, Australia's got Riley and Bond. I think that Jaden guy is a spinal cord, but he's also, very super incomplete.
Mm-hmm.
Japan, they got their guys, and then Britain, they got James Roberts. In the U.S. has got Chuck Aoki.
Yeah.
Trying to think who else is he the only 3.0? Oh, and they got the new guy, Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's an amputee.
Right?
So it's kind of those guys are a dying breed.
Yeah.
The 3.0, the kind of like the Chance Sumner was, I think, the last SCI that was on the U.S. team. That was a 3.0 or up.
Yeah.
And he had kind of some intangibles. I mean, the guy was a giant. I think he was like 6'5" or 6.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, going back to the low point thing, it's like, I mean, you look at how many guys are going to be, how many 2s right now are going to be 45, and like, do we really want them?
Yeah.
Because you look at like the U.S. for a while now has always had like an army of deuces. Like we've had the best 2s in the world, and they're all going to age at some point. I mean, Will Guru's going to be 45 at some point. Like I think in the next couple years.
Then you look into maybe like, do you add a half a point so you can have 4 points versus 3.5 and change the stuff there, or don't let those guys in? Lots of things to look at.
I like the 3.5.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, before the low point tournaments really started getting popular, and, we had, you might have like an old deuce, but he wasn't, like the 2, I don't want to name him, but we all know who it was.
Yeah.
But he was on arguably like the dream team line. I mean, the last time that the U.S. Well, not the last time. Okay, the last time the U.S. won a gold at the Paralympics, they ran a 4 deuce line, and a lot of people will argue that might have been the greatest lineup ever.
Yeah.
When you had what they had and what they were able to accomplish. So I don't know. It kind of brings up the questions, and it's one of those conversations that we're just gonna, if we ever do decide to do like a formal league, we're gonna have to sit down and kind of discuss those like baseline rules and what bylaws we're gonna adopt and
where you get the players from, because a lot of the teams at the low point tournaments
they're all
mixed
like
up.
They're all like
from
at
all over the
large
place.
teams, which like I'm kind of impartial to. I think it's kind of fun. You definitely would have to like declare a roster,
right?
And not change it, but I'm all right with that, because I mean, you think about like realistically, if we're gonna do that in conjunction with a regular USQRA season, how many people are gonna have the means to take an additional 3-4 tournaments off just to go play low point?
Right. And how many teams have enough low pointers to even roster a full team?
Yeah, right.
Many, if any.
Yeah. I guess just one solution would be like if you just broke it up into sections, and you played with the section that your team is rostered in, so you kind of create like an all-star team per se, I guess, and like you guys would combine forces with the California teams and the Portland and the Seattles. I don't know if that would be balanced or what. I feel like the Heartland would be pretty stacked, but I don't know. I know there's been talks about the Low Point League.
Yeah.
Because, Phoenix stepped up and Reno's been hosting it.
I heard rumors that Houston might try to host one this after
Yeah,
Nationals.
that's what Curly's been talking about that.
Yeah.
And certainly Oscar Mike would be able to host one too. And then if we just get one of the Florida teams to get it together, and that could be fun.
Yeah.
It could be exciting. It seems like the league is becoming less and less geared towards kind of its intended purpose, and it was like to provide a competitive outlet and a team sport for quadriplegics, people that can't play basketball.
Right.
And now, the floodgates have been open. And
Yeah.
I get it. Like, I get why we have to recruit within like the basketball community, because if we're going to compete internationally, we're going to have to go after those, so-called freak or function players.
Try
or
to
else
make
we're
the
just
sport super exciting with
and
fast-paced stuff.
It's great
action.
news for the low pointers. It kind of screws over the mids and all the other SCI highs. Great news for us, kind of sucks for them.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I've always felt like one of the biggest problems that the USQRA has is like the league serves a multitude of purposes, and we're a competitive league. It's funnels into the the Paralympic program, but then at the same time it's also like a recreational league.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of players, a lot of teams that are just perfectly fine at the recreational level, and it's like up to the USQRA to like have to try to find that middle ground of everything. And you look at like how competitive D1 was, but it was, if you really look at it, it was like the top 4 teams.
Yeah.
And then it was like the next 6 teams, because like Division 2, the top 2 teams there were, we gave Northridge a pretty good run for their money, but they were definitely the better team. Atlanta was by far the favorite. And they won. So it's kind of like figuring out like that balance point, I guess. I don't have a solution. It's just kind of, it's good to have a discussion about it, because
and the way they changed up the postseason from the last couple of years, I think.
Which, okay, what's your opinion on that format? Do you like it?
I think it's better.
Yeah.
It's still kind of difficult when you're trying to rank the teams to know what team's going to be ranked where, with not all the teams playing each other. You have all those biases, just kind of like happens in college football, the rankings. But you get the top 8 and they get a bye in the playoffs, and then you have the 2 playoffs to decide who the other 8 are, which the way those teams were chosen, which playoff they would go to, whether it was Kansas City or DC, was kind of interesting, because it seemed like Kansas City was super stacked. Like a lot of the top teams.
Yeah, there was teams that were in Kansas City that got eliminated and didn't get to go to nationals, that I feel like probably could have deserved a spot to be there. I'll be completely honest, I don't know how they decided which teams were going where. Was it a lottery?
I think they did like a draw. Like
it was like a
the
ping
top
pong.
teams like got to choose, like, so they get a, like, number 9 got to choose which one they want to go to first, and then down the line.
Oh, okay. So it was
like
a snake draft or something.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Is what if I remember right.
Yeah.
What they did.
I was just told, hey, we're going to Kansas City, and I was like, all right, roger that. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I think they're trying to try to split them up like geographically, kind of, and the rankings, but also one of the Kansas City one was supposed to be in San Francisco, or somewhere on the West Coast.
Right. Yeah, I think that fell through.
So then they had to move it over.
Let's be real. Like, the East Coast rugby they've been behind.
Yeah.
Like the Northeast teams, I've gone to a few tournaments where they were there, and it's like you guys are like club teams compared to some of the teams out here.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say the West Coast has like just been dominant in rugby, but there's certainly teams out here that would just mop up, the Northeast.
Yeah.
I mean, currently, I'm
Right.
things are always changing, and
It changes every year.
I think a lot of it has to do with like where do quads want to live?
Exactly.
North Dakota doesn't have a team for a reason because nobody in a wheelchair really wants to live there.
Yeah.
Quad or para. North Dakota might be the only state I don't know a single quad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. You don't want to live in those environments because there's nothing for you to do.
I don't know how you do it here.
Yeah. It's only 3 months out of the year.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
That are like snow and ice, but
yeah,
it starts to get cold earlier than that.
Because
just bundle up.
Illinois, like when I was living there earlier this year, was my first experience of winter.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to do this.
No.
Like I can do it for like temporary, but I'm not gonna own a house where I can't enjoy it, year round.
Right.
I mean, Portland, you got to deal with the rain, and that's about it.
A lot of rain.
And it sucks because you're gonna get wet, and there's gonna be days where you're gonna have to go to the store, and it's gonna be just, you're just gonna have to plan on getting wet. But at least I know I can still get around.
Yeah.
Where if it's, if there's 3 inches of ice between me and my truck, and I got to get out there and shovel the driveway, and I'm not going to deal with that.
Yeah, we get, like, typically here, the snow, we'll get like an inch or two, and then it's gone by the next day or the afternoon, so we don't have to deal with it too much.
Have you ever been in like a situation where you were just totally screwed, like you were, I don't know, like coming home from school or coming home from work? And
yeah, I've never been stuck out. We had a practice once, and it was snowing bad in Boise. I live in Nampa, so it's about a 25-30 minute drive, and it took me about an hour and a half to get home because of the snow, and it was like blizzard whiteout conditions. I could barely see. So going like 15-20 miles an hour on the freeway trying to get home was the only time. But then 2 or 3 years ago, we had like they call it like Snowmageddon, all this stuff. We had over a foot of snow on the ground, and I couldn't get out of my house for a week.
Yeah,
so
did you have like, and you had places to go and stuff, right?
Yeah, like would have had stuff to do, like go to work or, run some errands. But thankfully, I had enough stuff here that I just stayed in. Waited it out. Yeah,
that's another thing is like you guys, I guess you probably don't have to deal with like power outages too much.
No, not too much.
But
the only thing I did this last winter, I had my heater go out twice.
Oh yeah.
So that was rough. But
do you have because one of the first things I noticed when I came here was like I had my sweater on. I was like, oh wow, yeah, this is nice and warm. Peel that thing right off. Do you have a space heater in your room?
I do. So like, this is the main house, and then in my bedroom, it's not on the same AC or heat.
Yeah.
So I actually have like wall heaters in my room, so I can control the heat in my room however
That's
I
nice.
want.
Yeah,
and
so you can crank it up and not have to worry about sweating.
Yeah.
Sweating the rest of the house out.
Yeah. And in the summers, I have like a stand-up window AC unit that I put in.
Yeah.
Because then it gets hot, so that's a good way to stay cool.
Do you would you say you run more on the hot side or the cold side?
I'm always cold.
Yeah.
So I like it 75, 80 degrees.
75? Is that what you set? Like when you go to a hotel room, you set like 75?
Yeah. I like it hot.
I can deal with that. It's not always preferred.
No.
I usually find 72 is a good common ground because they always put me with high pointers, and high pointers always seem to like overheat.
Yeah.
I don't know if like that trend is true on your team, but definitely from my experience, it's always the low pointers are always cranking it up to like 74, 75, and then the high pointers are always like 72 down to like 68.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've run warm at night, so I set it down to like 68 at night.
Mm-hmm.
But like right now, I think it's set at 76.
Yeah.
So
no, it's
nice
warm.
and warm.
It's very warm. Like, I mean, it's not. You can't. I don't know if you could tell from the video, but it's like overcast.
Yeah.
Maybe like what, 60 degrees outside ish, something like that.
High was supposed to be 70 today, so it's probably somewhere around 65, 70 degrees.
Yeah, I just drove in this morning and it was like 50 and raining when I left, and then it hit like 70 in Eastern, and then like it got back to the rain in the mountains again, and but wasn't a bad drive.
Yeah. It was 81 degrees yesterday, and then 70 today, so we get those major swings.
We were in the 80s earlier this week, and then this kind of storm front kind of rolled through, and it's not bad. It's been a really good summer in my opinion, because it's like we'll get like 4 or 5 days of like sun, and then it rains for like 1 or 2 days, kind of washes everything away. And because you ever get to like in Phoenix, like when you're pushing around, your hands just get black and everything just gets dirty, and you're just like, this is gross. Like that would be. So we were talking a little bit earlier when we were watching the football game, like landlocked states that I would live in. Certainly Idaho would be one of them, just for the fact that you guys have some pretty good hunting, and we'll get into that later. Colorado, pretty much for the same reason, and Utah for the same reason. But I think Phoenix would be a good spot.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to deal with the heat, right?
You got to deal with the heat for a few months.
Other than that, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Plus, you get to like during the summer months, you can get up north and it kind of cools off and get in the mountains. But I don't know if you can beat Ability 360.
Right. That facility is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, just to have one, like an indoor track, fully accessible gym, a pool with the lift.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else they have there. It's just like, and then just all the other sports programs.
Right.
If you're interested in trying, power soccer or tennis, they have all those programs. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Have you been to Lakeshore?
I have not.
You haven't been to Lakeshore?
No.
How long have you been playing rugby?
7, almost 8 years.
Oh man, that's like.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the crossroads. Like, I think everybody ends up going through there at some point, like in their rugby or even just paralyzed career.
Yeah. Right. We've been staying on the West Coast mainly.
Yeah.
We made it out to Florida once, and like Texas a couple times, and Denver a couple times, but we tend to do the tournaments over here.
Well, that's another tough thing with rugby is like it's just all self-funded, and you got to go to those, going back to like talking about the rankings and stuff, you got to go to the tournaments where you're going to be seen now. You can't just go to Sacramento and play the same 4 teams, or like the Portland tournament, it's always Seattle, BC, you guys, maybe NorCal. It's like you got to get out there, and I think what could really help that, and this is a solution for this coming season, is getting the games like online.
Right. More visible.
Kind of sucks to share game footage of yourself and the opponents, but if it gets you seen, and if you end up going to like a tournament where there is like a team that you beat, where you can make a case for nationals, that could definitely serve you.
Yeah. So. And also for fans, just getting the
sport for more sure, visible. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch any of the streaming from nationals?
Yeah, a lot.
Did that turn out okay?
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what were some of the issues?
Sometimes I think it was it the sound?
It just would cut out. The first game,
yeah. I can't remember exactly what it was. And then I was confused a couple times because they changed games or something. They put a different game so it would be visible.
I know one time they had the scores like mixed up.
The scores were swapped. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know the teams, so it was like not a big deal. Because I was like, that team is they're scoring that way. But it was cool because they had a couple different angles, if I remember right.
Yeah, I mean, there was a whole production crew out there, so
you weren't always just having the one angle that's just turning and actually seeing the ball instead of like the camera staying still for a second and then like, oh, catch up.
Yeah, we're with because I work for Oscar Mike, and we're hosting it for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So we're always looking for like feedback on how we can improve things, and one of the biggest complaints last year was the transportation, which I mean, we're 70 miles away from Chicago.
Yeah.
There's gonna be bumps, and I think for what we had to deal with, it was all right. And I don't know. I feel like sometimes some of these quads are kind of like, I don't want to use the word entitled because that kind of gets thrown around, but they kind of get pampered.
Yeah.
It's like, well, okay, you got to deal with a 70-minute, 90-minute bus ride.
Right.
Like, get over it. Like we even took the steps to get ramp vans for individual teams.
Right.
And there were some teams that declined it, and those teams were the ones that had problems with the transportation. Yeah. So it's like,
well, there's nothing you can do about flights getting delayed and all that.
Right.
That's what happened, right?
Yeah, flights got delayed, and then a team showed up and jumped the line and was able to sneak on the bus in front of another team or something.
Yeah.
I was just like, I was really glad I didn't have to deal with any of that. But no, that's good to hear that the streaming was for overall, like went well, because I think that's certainly like one of the most important, or one of the easiest ways we can bring like awareness and bring fans into the game is if we start showing more games. And
exactly,
like Dave, he's been doing the commentating for a long time, where he knows like to kind of like explain the game to casuals, because it's not really a complicated game to just turn on and watch. But
for some reason,
some of the other rules, like the the illegal use of hands, and maybe like a 10 seconds in the key, might you might have to explain to someone. So I think maybe this year we should work on like having like graphics up.
Oh yeah.
Or even doing like a tutorial video, or I don't know. Yeah. I'll see. I'll start just throwing some ideas out to.
Even some like short replay clips would be cool too.
Oh yeah.
Like cool highlights of a nice pass or a cool goal that happened, or not a goal, a try.
Yeah, you're supposed to call them tries now. I wonder how difficult that would be if we were to do like a recap, kind of like like a little Sports Center 5-minute video of all the highlights, score recaps, what happened, what's coming up, and like release that. I mean, I guess the hardest part would be with the schedule, like the games end at like 6, so you'd have to like scramble and try to get that up by like not too late, like by like 9. But I don't know, I'm always open to feedback. So if you like think of anything that we can do, or even just discuss it with your team, like what would you guys like to see? Because I mean, it is a player run league. Everybody's a volunteer. Nobody's getting rich doing this. And it's for us, which is in my opinion kind of cool. Like we don't have huge sponsors or big corporate to like please. Like it's kind of like we can make it what we want. And that's kind of like with the AGM, like we're able to propose rules and changes. And if we don't like the way the postseason's formatted, like, or if we feel like we can improve on it some way, submit an AGM, state your case, and see if you get enough votes. And it's always cool when you put the power with like the players.
Right.
So
if you don't like something, we can propose to change it.
Right.
So it's nice.
Real quick, because I want to get into hunting, and we're like 30 minutes in already. What are your predictions for this rugby season?
My predictions for this rugby season?
Yeah, let's start with Division 1, and we'll work our way down.
Division 1. I have no idea. It just all depends on who has who. But I think, the Arizona teams are going to be up there in Denver.
Denver for
always.
sure. Because Denver, they have that one import from Denmark.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to get him back. He had some pretty good quality minutes in that last national championship game. They could certainly do it without him, but it's a lot easier if he's there.
Texas is always up there, but
and I hear Texas is going to have some
big ones,
some players.
Okay.
I don't want to start any rumors, but I heard there's going to be some transfers.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about U of A.
Oh.
I don't know if they're going to have EK back.
Yeah. But even without him, they've got players, but
they got they got half the U.S.
teams.
roster, right?
Yeah. They could have 2 teams pretty much.
Yeah, they could have a Division I team and actually a Division II contender, I feel like. Phoenix,
I'm not sure.
Scott's always got something up his sleeve, so he's always in the mix.
Yep.
I think for as long as I've been playing, Phoenix has always been kind of in that top 4. They're really the only team that's, since I've been playing. I started playing in 2009, so this is my 11th season. Yeah. They've always been kind of that top 4. Everyone else, when I started playing, Portland was consistently 2.
Yeah.
They finally won 1. San Diego was hot for a while. U of A, Phoenix, Texas that 1 year, that anomaly year.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you can't ever count out Phoenix.
No.
All right, so who do you think is gonna win? Just so we can listen to this later in 6 months, and we could be like, oh yeah, he was totally right.
Or totally wrong. I would go with, I don't know, I think Denver is usually
gonna go Denver.
They've got a good lineup there.
Denver. Yeah, that's a solid bet. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I think I'll agree. I think I'm gonna go with Denver over Texas.
Oh, over Texas.
Yeah. I think Phoenix will be in that 3rd, 4th place game, but knowing Scott, he's gonna play the bench and he doesn't really care about 3rd.
Yeah.
4th, I guess. U of A.
Yeah. Or just depends on who else is. If anyone else is bringing imports in or what. It's kind of hard to know all that information.
The thing is what team you would have to bring in an impact player, someone like a Zach Medell.
Right.
So if Tampa brought in Zach, then okay, they would be a contender because they still got McDaniels. I don't know if they'd be able to even run both of them, but
they need.
So moving to Division II, which is going to be really interesting because I've heard some rumors. Kansas City and St. Louis might combine squads.
Oh.
I don't know where Oscar Mike stands. We lost a couple starters, but we gained a couple other guys.
We're hoping to make a run for a D2 this year.
I think if you guys are D2, that's going to be very hard to stop.
Yeah.
Because you got Corey back, and just from what I've noticed, having a dominant player like that's going to command at least 3 guys.
Yeah.
That's just going to be very hard to stop.
Yeah. And just him bringing back some knowledge of the sport to our team is helping the whole.
Oh
team
yeah,
out,
that's definitely
nice.
That was that was kind of one of those things I was kind of torn about with when he left. And I was like the Boise team, you guys at the time, you guys were fairly new. It was. You guys had Corey pretty much from the beginning, right?
No, I think he was with us for 2 years, and I think that would have been our 3rd and 4th year. I think we were 2 years before we got him.
Okay.
Took us a little while to get him to come.
Yeah, and he was only like 16 at the time. But
he started at 16.
Yeah, when he left, I was like, that sucks, because like Spencer's built this team, and he found that I hate to keep using that term freak, but he found that impact player that's gonna definitely change the game.
Yeah.
And then he went and left, which for him I kind of understand. I get it. Like, he had the ambitions to like make Team US, and he did. And, went on for the 2016 Paralympics, but now he's back. So
it was tough when he left, but it was really good for him.
Right.
So it took him places, and he's learned a lot, and he's grown a ton from it. So
yeah,
it's cool to see him come back now and be a complete different player and person.
Well, when I first met him, it was that summer that like Kip and we came out here with like maybe Bridget and maybe one other player.
Jake, I think, came out. Was his name Jake?
Big Jake, yeah.
Big Jake, yeah.
Jake Merriman, yeah, you're right. We came out and we just, we're doing just a little 2-day clinic with you guys, and Corey was still very fresh, and I was able to cover him solo. Yeah. And now it's like no chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wouldn't use his blockers back then. He just all free and just going crazy. Like,
he was like just and you always see that with the function players, the freaks. They when they're young and they're starting out and they have all the speed but no knowledge. It's kind of like when you just like shoot a bottle rocket off in like a pantry. It's just gonna bounce around everywhere.
Yeah.
No, we'll certainly have to see with Division 2 just how things are going to shake out,
and where the rankings happen, to who's going to be D1, who's going to be D2.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting.
I think you guys are probably going to end up going Division 1.
Yeah,
because I was just kind of like thinking about the section in my head, and you're most likely going to be the number one contender. What tournaments are you guys looking at this year?
I know we're going to Seattle and Reno.
Yeah.
You'll have, and then we're hosting a tournament in November.
You'll have Corey for those?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Are you guys going to like Metal and Muscle, or?
No, couldn't make that one. We're gonna look into possibly going to Denver.
Okay.
Tournament. But yeah, we want to try to get to one that has some higher end competition.
Yeah. Denver last year was a Division 1 tournament.
Yep.
They had some solid squads out there.
Yeah. Going out to a tournament where it's those top D1 teams and just
really see
what we match, how we do against it, just to get us some insights on where we're going to be at.
Yeah.
But it's also just trying to find the dates that work for the team,
right?
When we can all make it to certain tournaments that's going to be that competitive level. So
yeah,
we're hoping for our tournament to bring in some higher level teams too, give us a good challenge.
The Denver tournament, I believe, is usually like a 2-day tournament.
Yeah, I can't remember. Isn't it like February sometime, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, last time we were there, it was February. But
so I just haven't seen anything on that.
Oh, here's a good question. The last thing about rugby, and then we'll move on. About like formats, and I've been kind of kicking this idea around and just trying to get other people's opinions on it. But how would you feel if we went to 3 divisions, 6 teams each, and you did, so like let's just look at like Division 1, you have 6 teams. You would do a round robin, and then it would be whoever finishes first in the round robin plays whoever finishes second.
Right.
And then third and fourth. And that's your tournament. Like that's how you determine the national championship. So every team plays everybody.
Yeah.
You narrow it down to 6 teams.
Right.
Because I mean,
and then
just if you look at it, it's always the bottom 2 teams of Division 1.
Yeah.
Are always going to get crushed. Yeah. At least based on my experience.
Yeah. Recent history.
Yeah. And then usually Division 2, like the top 2 teams are, far and away from the bottom 6.
Yeah.
You might have like a third, fourth team that kind of can put up a fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of expand it, so you would add 2 more teams to nationals.
Yeah, and like so there'd be a Division 1, a Division 2, and Division 3.
And a Division 3.
Yeah, I think that was a proposal, wasn't that? 2 years
I don't know
ago?
if it was that exact format.
Or like similar.
Yeah, the only thing is you would add an extra game, so you'd have to play 6 games in a weekend.
Right.
Which, I mean,
I'm all up for playing more games.
it's nationals, right?
Yeah.
You're already there. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes it because it's usually. I like that because, you know, when you get 8 teams, the spread from the top team to the bottom team is going to be pretty big.
Right.
So you narrow that down a little bit. There's going to be closer games. Not as many blowouts, and it'll be a little more exciting to watch.
Yeah, and then you get to play kind of a variety of teams instead of playing, you know, the three teams in your pool.
And then the one crossover.
One crossover, and then
you might have to play a team you already played.
Which happens quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I don't know. Just another format idea. I was just kind of kicking around.
I like it.
There's other things that we've talked about, and it's like, I guess you're never gonna please everyone. You're just gonna have to try to do your best.
Yeah.
So. Anyways, yeah, let's we're still like a month away from rugby starting, so
it is.
Let's move on and actually talk about some hunting.
Yeah.
You just recently got back from your first crossbow hunt.
Yeah. First archery hunting.
Which is like great timing because for the last maybe 3 months now, I've been just looking at YouTube videos on crossbows and been really interested in getting into it. So I kind of wanted to get your feedback and like what that experience was like.
For me, it was a lot of fun. All the hunting I've done previously has been rifle hunting and just driving around in a pickup trying to spot something and either trying to get my gun set up so I can shoot out of the truck or getting out of the truck and setting up in my wheelchair, which the deer don't like to stick around when you're doing that.
Yeah.
So it makes it tough.
And when you say you're shooting from a truck, are you in the passenger seat?
Yeah. In the passenger seat, just shooting right out the window.
That makes it a little bit more difficult, I would imagine.
Yeah, like trying to get the right angle.
Yeah.
So, like, I can't hold the gun, and so I have like the mount that holds it and everything. And
right.
So
and you're
trying to get it set up.
You're a right-handed shooter.
I'm actually left-handed, so.
Oh, so that should be actually a little bit easier.
Yeah, it makes it a little easier, but for me, like the setup I have just doesn't work for that. It works much better out of a chair. So I like to just use my chair instead. So what I've done in the past too is even just set up in the back of a truck and
I was gonna say,
set up in the trunk or like in the bed of the truck and go for it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I've only hunted once, back in 2016, and that was from my track chair. But we had a like a Kawasaki Mule or one of the UTVs out there with a pretty good size bed, and we had a couple ATV ramps where I could just drive the track chair right up onto the thing. And there was a couple where spotted some deer in some I think it was like an apple orchard, and if we were able to get them out, I could take a nice clean shot. I probably would have just shot from the back of the bed. What would you say is the biggest difference between rifle and bow from a chair?
From a chair, the biggest difference is just how close you have to get.
Mm-hmm.
So this archery hunt with the crossbow, I'm set up in a blind on a water hole and have to wait for the antelope to come in.
Yeah.
And when they're coming in, you gotta be set up and ready. So this one I had spotted an antelope about 75 yards away and had to get all set up. So I'm sitting there holding the crossbow with it ready, and it's not moving in. So I'm holding the crossbow for 45 minutes waiting for it to get to the water hole. So you got to be ready to hold that.
What distance would you say is a comfortable distance for you where you're
this was my first antelope hunt, and I've only shot my crossbow 5 times when I was sighting it in.
Yeah. And
the max distance I shot when I was sighting it in was 35 yards.
Okay.
But it's it's a crossbow. It goes pretty far.
Yeah.
So I would have been comfortable shooting it, 50, 60 yards maybe.
Yeah.
Tops. But the more I use it, I'll go out and shoot some more and try some, at 50 to 75 yards, just see what kind of range it has, and then I'd be more comfortable.
Yeah.
But like where I was set up, it was the antelope come in. The one that we were hunting on that was coming in, got about 50 yards away before it got spooked by another hunter and ran off. So that was the hard thing, because I'm sitting there holding a crossbow for 45 minutes watching this one come in for him just to be spooked by another hunter.
And he wasn't part of your party?
No. He was just walking down, going to another hunting spot, and
you're just like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah. So it was brutal, because I was like sitting there waiting for it, and sitting still in a chair. Like, I'm always moving, trying to adjust my sitting situation, having to just sit completely still and hold.
And you were in this chair, right?
I was like, I have a hunting chair, or like a camping chair.
You were in an everyday chair.
Just an everyday chair, yep. Just sitting there, and it's tough. And that one's one of my older chairs, so it's got like a super high back. It's not very comfortable. So I would have much rather been sitting in this chair, something better. But just sitting there and holding that crossbow for that long was pretty straining. Yeah. So, but it's exciting because they get in really close, and so when it was coming in, I'm like, ooh, yeah, and get you going. You're just like, yeah, I'm ready for this, hyped up, and But then it's like heartbreaking when they run off, and then you've sat there for hours and hours and don't even get a shot off.
Yeah, that's that was pretty much my experience with hunting back in 2016. It was rifle when we were going for deer, but it was a lot of just spot and stalk and see where the herd is and kind of move in, and you gotta and it makes it easy with rifle because your distances are
much further,
3 times. I would be comfortable taking a shot, and I was out there with an AR-15 because it was just what I had. So it was either that or my M1A, and all I had on that was iron sights. Okay. But even with iron sights, I probably would have been comfortable taking a shot out from 300, 400, where I've never shot a bow in my life, but I don't think I would want to shoot anything less than 100. Yeah. No, it was great for me. Like the thing that I love about getting out there and hunting is just getting out in the woods or in the outdoors and just enjoying like nature, and then seeing an animal like that up close and kind of just seeing how they behave, and I don't know, there's something really cool about seeing where your food comes from. Yeah. And I never really understood that when hunters were like, I hunt to like feed my family. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, you can go to the store, you don't have to deal with drawing tags and getting out there and getting wet. But once I got my first deer, I understood. I was like, okay, I understand now. Like, you still have to pay for the tags, and I took mine to a butcher and had it chopped up for me. But like, to know that the only sets of hands that deer had passed through was my own and then the butcher. Was great. I mean, and then also the meat is just incredible. I mean, I've only ever had venison as far as like true like game meat. Yeah. But from what I hear, like elk is amazing. Yeah, elk is really good. Bear's amazing. Cougar. So I got all those tags this year, so I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, we butcher our own deer and antelope, everything. We do it, cut it all up and package it and do everything here. So
that's cool.
It's really nice to just be able to do it all.
Yeah, you were saying you got some antelope pepperoni there. I'm gonna have to snag a stick and
we make
try that out.
That was our first time making that, and it was good. We smoked that one. It's really good.
Okay.
Our elk that my mom got a couple years back, we did jerky out of it too. But then had a lot of elk steaks and burger and different stuff. So
yeah, that's
really good.
The if I had to choose between getting a deer and an elk this year, I would love to get an elk.
Yeah.
Just because I've been just watching different shows and looking at like different recipes, and it just all sounds good.
Yeah. It's very lean meat, and it's like really tasty.
Yeah, the idea would be if I can get a deer and an elk this year, I don't want to have to go to the store to buy red meat.
Yeah.
You know, at least for the winter, maybe through the summer, it should last me, because just got 3 people in the house to feed now, so it's kind of like, like
and elk is a big animal. It's a lot of meat.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, I get it. Like the whole hunting culture kind of gets a bad rap, and I think a lot of it just comes from like misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's ever about like bloodthirsty rednecks going out there just for the thrill of the kill. You know, from my limited experience, every hunter that I've met is probably one of the most advocates for like conservation and just respect of wildlife.
Yeah.
You know, so
it's just nice to get out, you know, up in the mountains and get to see all the sights and experience the outdoors, and then see all the animals out there and the way each animal interacts differently, you know. Like we were out there hunting antelope, and there was a lot of deer out there, and had to drive my side by side all the way out to get to our blind. We passed a bunch of deer, and they just stand there on the path and look at you. And then we got out to the blind, and like antelope, you barely make them move and they're gone. They just run off. So it's pretty interesting to see the difference between the two.
And you're going on a deer hunt later next month,
October.
right?
Yep.
That's gonna be rifle.
Yeah, that one's gonna be rifle.
What caliber are you using?
I use a 243.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not
it's not
too terrible on the recoil.
Not at all. No.
Yeah.
It's pretty light. So.
Yeah.
So it's just the gun I've had since I was 12 or 13 when I started hunting.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. For years.
Yeah, so after the whole AR-15 debacle, because I got made fun of when I brought it out there and I opened up the gun case. They're like, "You're gonna hunt with that?" Because I have an ACOG, a little red dot sight on it, and they were like, "You're gonna hunt with that?" And I was like, "Yeah." I mean, don't really have a lot of experience with bolt actions, like some limited, but I mean, this is pretty much the rifle that I carried when I was in the Marines, and I know the ins and outs. And
right.
Yeah, I got kind of made fun of, but whatever. But I went out and bought a 30-06.
Oh yeah.
But
that's a good gun.
Dude, sighting that thing in, and I went through a box of ammo. It was fine. Didn't really feel too much. But the next morning,
feel it?
I was like, oh yeah. It's like I'm a little sore, like right here, a little sore right here. I was like, yeah, I guess a 30-06 kind of does have a good kick.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if I ever go elk hunting, I'll use a 30-06 because I have a 30-06 also. But for the deer, I like to use a 243.
Yeah, I just figured I wanted to get a bolt gun just to kind of get some experience behind it.
Yeah.
And I figured a 30-06 is going to cover.
Yeah, it's a good overall.
It's going to cover pretty much every North American big game.
Right.
So. Yeah. Right now, I feel like I got to play around with the rifle setup.
Yeah.
Maybe get a couple more like recoil pads and maybe start working out, strengthening the shoulder.
Yeah.
And also when you're wearing different layers, that's gonna help with the padding.
Yeah.
So, when you because you said you're always cold. Mm-hmm. So, what kind of temperatures would you be expecting, like in October, typically?
Yeah. It just depends. Like Idaho's so crazy. Like, you never know what the weather's gonna be.
Yeah.
But typically you're anywhere from mid 30s to low 50s.
Okay.
Hunting out there. So.
Usually dry, would you say?
Depends. Sometimes dry, sometimes snow, sometimes rain.
Oh.
So you just never know.
Yeah.
Like I did a November hunt 2 years ago, and it was sunshine in like upper 50s. and typically you got an inch or two of snow on the ground where we're hunting in the mountains. So it's just hit and miss. You never know.
Yeah.
So I've hunted in all of it. So
when
gotta layer up.
Let's just say in the when it gets to the extreme cold, what would you say? Like what are you wearing?
Oh, what am I wearing? So I'll typically wear like a Under Armour long sleeve, tight shirt,
like base layers.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then like a long sleeve shirt, and then I'll wear like a heavy sweatshirt, and then like another jacket over the top of that.
Okay.
So I'm usually like super bundled up.
Yeah.
I also have a heated jacket, so I tend to wear that like underneath. And
I hear those are nice.
Powered. It's very nice.
What? Are they like just 9-volt batteries or?
No, it has its own battery. Like it's
like a rechargeable.
Yeah, rechargeable battery. So it's just like this rechargeable battery. So you got to make sure you charge it up, and then.
How many hours do you get off of that?
Depends on the level.
Okay.
So it has like 25%, 50, 75, and 100%. Yeah. So at 100%, it says it's supposed to last 3 hours. So I only when I have mine on 100%. Like it feels like it's gonna burn me.
I was gonna say does.
Yeah. So I always put it on 50%.
Yeah.
And it lasts me a good 6 hours. Like it doesn't die. So
typically a good typical day.
Yeah. And it keeps warm. And then like on my feet and stuff, I get the toe warmers, put those on there, and
see, I would even be concerned about burns with those. And it's just because when I first got hurt, I did rehab. And there was a guy that he came in and he was like driving across the country and had his seat warmers on.
Oh.
And ended up burning down to like his femur.
Wow.
Yeah. That's and it ever since then, it just kind of freaked me out. Huh. Where, I have the seat warmers disabled on my truck. And when I had my van, I had it disabled because... Just never wanted to deal with that risk, but I keep hearing about these heated jackets, and I feel like I need to go check one out.
Yeah, they're nice. Mine has heating pads in the front and then in the back, and the back one's what I don't like because it's always sitting, so I always have pressure, so it's always pushing right up against me. That's why I typically try to have at least 1 to 2 layers underneath
layers,
it.
Yeah.
And then a layer on top of it as well, just to keep all the heat in. And you can stay pretty warm with those.
Yeah. And then as far as bottoms, do like long johns?
I usually don't. I usually just use my sweats and then have
you hunt bottomless?
No, my sweats. I just have sweats on, and then I usually have a blanket.
So I like to have a warm blanket. There you go. That's smart.
Wrap a blanket around my legs and call it good.
Yeah. So I never even thought about that.
Yeah. Typically easier than trying to put on a bunch of long johns and different things. I just wrap a blanket around me. I'm trying to
remember how cold it was when I went. I was out in eastern Oregon. I don't think it was that cold, but I had wool socks, the long johns, just a good pair of hunting pants.
Yeah.
And then your typical long john tops. I don't know if I wore a hoodie or not, and just a jacket, but it was you're right, yeah, like getting dressed and everything. I think I only took my bottoms and my socks off after the 3rd day just to change them out.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, this is too much of a struggle to put on, so
right.
I was like, I'm just gonna sleep in my hunting clothes.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a cabin out there?
No, so my parents have a 5th wheel.
Oh, that's right.
So I got a toy hauler. So basically, like the ramp folds down. I just roll up the back into the garage, and that's where I sleep in the garage. There's beds that come down.
The bunk beds.
Yep.
Yeah. Who makes your toy hauler?
Grand Design. We have a Grand Design Momentum.
Okay.
Super nice. I love it.
Is the bathroom accessible for you? No.
I can't really get into the living room. Like I just pretty much stay in the garage.
Because it's an actual. Is it a gooseneck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then it's like I'm in the garage, and then there's a step up and like a sliding door to get into the living room area, and then it's like 3 stairs up to where the bathroom's at. So I just use the garage,
So if you don't mind me asking, how do you go to the bathroom? Number 2.
Number 2, over a trash
bucket.
can.
Yeah.
A bucket and trash bag, and tie it up and throw it outside.
That's what I figured.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I do that a lot traveling because it's just easier that way than trying to squeeze into some bathrooms that aren't very accessible.
No, for sure. Yeah. adapt and overcome.
Yep.
I've heard stories of guys that have done that in hotel rooms.
Yep.
Just right in between the beds, and I was like, that's genius.
Yeah.
Like, you get to watch TV. You got,
comfort.
2 like shelves.
The beds.
Yeah, the beds that you can just lay stuff out. You can put your laptop here.
Yeah.
No, I was just like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I fortunately was able to get a wheelchair accessible toy hauler.
Oh.
That I had,
Nice.
Custom built.
Right.
And there's things that I would love to change about it now. But yeah, for the most part, that thing's awesome. Like to be able to go on, like family vacations and go to like different campsites. And, I was hoping the ramp would be a little bit less steep.
It's a steep ramp depending on where you park.
You're right. Like at least maybe not to have the ability to like push up it, but to wheel down it independently would have been cool. But there's absolutely no way that I would trust myself going down it. And
I even take a power chair with me, and I don't even trust going down or up it alone, even in a power chair.
I would do
how
it.
Steep it is sometimes because my wheels just spin sometimes with how steep it is. And
like, you kind of
I just
like
want to have a little brace.
You kind of bottom out.
Yeah.
I would trust it with a track chair.
Oh yeah,
for
track
sure.
Chair, yeah.
The track chair is just the most solid piece of equipment that I have. I would definitely trust it with the track chair. Everything else, no, I don't know.
Yeah. It's just fun to get out camping and get out in the woods.
It is, yeah.
Relax, get away from all.
We have a family trip coming up to Yosemite.
Oh.
Yeah, I always get Yosemite and Yellowstone mixed up. We went to Yellowstone last year.
Okay.
And that was our first big trip with the trailer. So it's kind of a little bit of a learning experience, but we got it all figured out, and it was just awesome being out there for 10 days.
Right.
We jumped from 2 different campsites. So we were out at West Yellowstone for like the first 5 days, and then we went up to Gardner, Montana. You've been out there, right? Because that's not too far from
Montana or Yellowstone?
Yellowstone.
Yeah, I haven't actually gone into Yellowstone, but I've been over like is it Bear Park or Bear World or something, which is right over near there.
Oh, that's like in Idaho, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just on this side of Idaho there. So. But I haven't actually gone into Yellowstone yet.
Surprisingly pretty wheelchair friendly.
Oh.
I mean, obviously, like Old Faithful is completely wheelchair friendly, but there's like boardwalks and stuff all over, like the hot springs and the mud pots, and I mean, we were out there for 10 days, and we pretty much saw the entire park.
Nice.
It's if you ever make your way out there, hit me up and I'll give you some suggestions of like what was easy and what was not. And it was, I'd say for the most part, I would give them probably like an A- out of all the parks that I've been to.
Yeah.
Didn't really do like much hunting, or not hunting, hiking. But the like from the everything that you can just pull up to on a paved road, for the most part, I mean, there wasn't, they did their best to kind of accommodate wheelchairs and scooters, I guess. But we'll see how Yosemite is. We're gonna try to get out there for like a week. So it's kind of like with ever since we got the trailer, we're like trying to get like at least one big camping national park trip like every summer.
Yeah.
So this year we just kind of had to push it like back to October.
All right.
But
yeah, it's fun to go do those trips.
Yeah. So yeah, dude, we're like over an hour now. We've covered everything.
Cool.
Probably just leave it off here.
Sounds good.
What do you think?
Yeah.